What's up everybody, it's your boy Warhorg, and Blizzard has done us Genji mains dirty. They nerfed my man, so today I'm not only going to go over a total stadium build guide, but since some people requested, I'm also going over general 5v5 and 6v6 playstyles for Genji, so you don't have to search for any more boring guides. But before we start being degenerate and talk about Genji, make sure to subscribe and like the video if you want the Illidan skin. Now, firstly, I want to go over the most important changes they have done. So, in Season 17, they nerfed the melee build heavily by increasing the cost of ambusher optics from 10,000 to 11,000. Now, 1k credits isn't massive, but it actually is, because now it sets you back at least one round in terms of power. I've been missing 1000 credits many times now because I've run with this item, and it's actually less powerful too now because they also nerfed Hidden Blade, decreasing the damage by 10 and increasing lifesteal by 10%, and that's a huge nerf, because 10 damage cannot be compensated by 10% lifesteal. That's massive, because those 10 damage do stack with a lot of items we're using. So for me, I've stopped picking Hidden Blade as the first talent, and instead gone for Idle Strike. I talked a lot of shit about Idle Strike in my previous videos, and the comments made me try it again. And it's actually really strong, because it scales with attack power, ability power, and melee power. So I pick Idle Strike as the first talent usually. However, I'm a massive Zenyatta hater, and he is low-key hard to kill. So if I run against Zenyatta, or especially Orisa, and because Orisa is pretty weak when it comes to spam damage, I might pick the talent that shoots 2 extra shurikens with primary fire. Because if you're playing against Orisa, you can spam her a lot and get a lot of ult charge, and also you can't really dive Zen. Because you can't dive and melee Zen. He will just kick you, and so you can't get close most of the time. So if they have Zen or Orisa, but usually just Zen, I am not picking Idle Strike first. I just pick the other talent. I'm going to show you a picture of it, but I'm going to pick the other talent that shoots 2 extra shurikens. Now, secondly, I usually go for Hidden Blade because the lifesteal is pretty nice, but if I take a lot of damage and they peel, I'm going for Forged Under Fire, but usually Hidden Blade. The next power is dependent, because this build in general is quite dependent, except for the first round. If I feel like I can freely flank and not die really fast, I'm going for Dragon Breath, just for more damage to one-shot someone. If I need more survivability, I'm going for Hanamura Healing or Forged Under Fire. And the same goes for the last powers: Hanamura Healing, Forged Under Fire, Dragon Breath, or Sacred Shuriken. It all comes down to the situation in which order you want to pick your talents, and you need to test out in your games and feel what item you actually need. For example, going against a Zarya and Moira, I might need more survivability. Now, for items, I'll show you the most important items. Firstly, I always try to build attack damage on rare items or go for custom stock. And if I'm filling with green items, I usually go for attack lifesteal. Another great green item is Siphon Gloves, which gives you health whenever you melee someone. That's pretty huge, especially in the early rounds. Now for epics, the first item I usually go for is Hard Light Accelerator. It basically will always be at 2 or 3 stacks, since you can reset dash, and deflecting and then hitting with Idle Strike will give you 2 stacks. Because when you deflect, that's one ability, and the next ability is going to be when you slash your blade, because that's also counts as one ability. So you kind of always get 20 to 25% power from it. Then I actually really like Phantasmic Flux, because you get power and a lot of lifesteal for blade. So if I have 10k, I go for Phantasmic Flux if I cannot sell a green item. And if I have 11k in the third round, I'm going for Ambusher Optics, and vice versa for the next epic item. However, later in the game, I really like these 2 epic items, and that is Enduring Edge and Transference Delta. They're just really nice together because you almost double your blade time, which is insane, and also get 15% blade plus a bit more survivability. So what I might want to do in the later rounds, if I can only afford one item, is to sell Phantasmic Flux and then go for those 2. Lastly, you can always go for the Closer and Eye of the Spider because they just deal crazy damage, but only if you can afford it, because they are really expensive items. So for me, the ideal best Genji build would be Hard Light Accelerator, Ambusher Optics, Enduring Edge, Transference Delta, and the Closer and Eye of the Spider. but realistically, you won't afford them all. So I usually just build as much weapon power as I can, and that's basically the talents and items. It's really hard for me to make a specific build, because there are so many situational talents and items, for example anti-beam coating against Zarya. So for those items, you always need to look at the situation you are in and try to check what works in that specific game, because it's really important as a Genji player or as a DPS player in general to test the limits in your game, test how far you can go without getting punished. That is a huge tip for any DPS player. Now for the playstyle, the stadium build playstyle still stands as it is. Usually you don't want to engage with dash unless it's mid-fight and a lot of chaos, so you know you can quickly dash and get a kill, or in general you don't want to engage with dash unless you know you can delete someone and just get out with dash again. Because if you lose a 1v1 and you've used dash, you're dying. If you engage without dash and you lose a 1v1, you can dash out. What I do against the backline is I try and sneak up using walls and natural cover. Then when I'm close, I engage with idle strike, shoot and melee, and if they are low enough, dash or melee again. Against heroes like Ashe, Kiriko and Mercy for example, engaging with dash is setting you up for failure, and this does not only go for Stadium but all mods in general for Genji. Dashing against Ashe and Mercy and Moira is literally just trolling, because all of them will just run away. Moira will fade, Ashe is gonna shotgun, especially in Stadium, Ashe is gonna kill you with shotgun, and you want to be able to dash after them or run away with it. Basically, in Stadium, you always want to look at opportunities to finish people in the backline. Try and poke and then quickly engage or finish someone, or you can just, if you have good talents, you can just idle strike and one-shot someone. Get out, or you can snowball with more dash and melee, because once you get the flow of it mid-fight, you basically just idle strike and dash someone, melee, and then you dash to the next person and melee, and then you snowball, you dash melee and kill everyone, and it just feels so good. And that's basically how you do it in Stadium. You fight and chill, and whenever someone is vulnerable, you engage them. You can also set up pre-fight to execute someone really fast right before a fight starts. For example, a Moira or a Kiriko, but you need to be careful with Kiriko's Swift Step or Moira Fade. So if they've used it, it's basically a free kill. What I do is stay on high ground, drop down on them and shoot melee, or you can just idle strike. They will use cooldowns and run away. That's when you dash and deflect and kill them. Now let's go over to the overall playstyle, because a lot of this playstyles goes for both the core game modes and Stadium. In regular comp, it's hard to just delete someone. You want to chill and farm Blade and look for someone who has used their cooldowns or are out of position, or you can set up flanks, but it's going to be harder. That's when you want to jump in and quickly kill them. So you farm Blade or flank, look for someone who has used their cooldowns. For example, an Anana that has used her Biotic Nade and Sleep, you're going to kill her. A Baptiste has used his Lamp and Shift, you're going to kill her. That's when you really want to jump in and quickly kill them and get out or snowball. Genji is excellent at securing kills by dashing and doing a combo. So let's talk about the combos. You can shoot and then dash really fast. So to quickly secure a kill, you want to shoot and then immediately dash and melee. Dashing someone, you want to aim at their feet, so you don't go past them and have to do a 180. Just try and aim at their feet so you end up right in front of them. Just shoot dash melee. If they aren't that low, you can shoot dash shoot melee. It all depends on how much health they have left. You want to be focusing the backline. Whenever someone are alone, use their cooldowns, or out of position, you have either a free kill or force their cooldowns, and forcing cooldowns is really important for Blade, and I'll tell you why soon. A part of Genji's playstyle is to farm Blade pre-fights. If you don't want to set up flanks, you want to chill and just shoot and farm Blade as fast as you can, and Blade gets shot down really fast. When you Blade, you glow green, you have a sword, and everyone sees you, making you super easy to focus. If you get naded, you die. If you dash someone and they teleport or get life gripped, you run away or die. If you get slept or hindered or stunned, you die. If you get grabbed, you die. Before you Blade, make sure that some of those cooldowns have been used, because Blade gets shut down so easily. You don't want to Blade in the beginning of the fight. Imagine dashing up, getting nanoed, and go in with Blade in the pre-fight. Everyone has their cooldowns. You're going to get bombed, aka you won't get any value. Instead, you want to wait until mid-fight and then blade, because it's way more chaotic, so it's hard for people to focus you, and they won't have all their cooldowns ready either. Remember, people say Genji sucks or need buffs, but trust me, he is just a beast if you don't suck, and you can play him into most comps in the game, as long as you play around your enemies and your team. If this video helps you out, make sure to like the video and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.